back, sports fan, to another edition of Hodge and Podge Show. What do we got going on today?
We got three, right?
We three of the video. We got a lot of feedback. Pretty excited about it. So
we got some letters coming in. I mean, it's like,
oh man, it's gonna be great.
We're on YouTube now.
So we got what do we got? We got to talk about the NCAA, unfortunately. So that's not good for me.
I'm all about it this week. All about it this week.
We'll get into the college basketball scene. Baseball's opening up. You got the O shirt on. I got the Nationals. We're representing the local area here, so we got that going.
Opening week.
Yeah, and then you know, based on the timing of our kind of podcast here, we're going to talk about the Masters, get a little bit of golf. I like Augusta. This should be good.
Oh, it's a great tournament, and look forward to discussing it.
And then you know, last topic we're going to talk about is a little bit of the NBA. So we're going to get some basketball. Whatever the topic is, I know I'm going to own Hodge, so that's all there is to it.
That's right.
All right, sports fans, so the first topic we're going to get into is NCAA basketball. Obviously, big weekend, Sweet 16,
Right.
Elite 8. I don't really want to talk about it, so I'm just going to kick it to you.
Well, you know, I've ended up with one team in the Final Four. I mean, obviously, Butler and ECU.
I got to give you a lot of props for that, because I got nobody.
I got UConn in there.
I got nothing.
The team that broke my heart really was Kansas. I was really surprised how poorly they played. I mean, VCU shot the lights out. I mean, obviously, they nailed 12 threes during the game.
Their defense was just incredible, how fast they played.
But, you know, I thought once I got UConn in, I'm going to have two teams in because, you know, Sunday, we're going to have Kansas beat VCU.
Because you had to beat me that bad, is what
I
you're thinking.
Basically, yes.
Let me tell you, last weekend I cried. You know, obviously Ohio State lost, so I had to cry about that.
That was a tough loss, so.
Well, I got to give Kentucky a lot of credit. That was a big shot they hit at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I thought, gosh, yeah. I mean, I thought after Debo hit that three, it was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was a tough one. And yeah, I mean, I'm just really surprised to see the Final Four with no number ones and no number twos.
It's pretty shocking.
I think if you rolled back some of our video or audio from earlier in the year, I would have said there's probably 4 or 5 teams that I thought would be in the Final Four, and they were really the elite class of the NCAA. But man, none of them made it. So I'm kind of like shocked, and I don't know what to do.
You know, Kentucky's kind of peaking at the right time. I mean, Butler's just a great tournament team. I mean, Brad Stevens is a great coach.
Yeah, you got to give him a lot of credit.
He just seems like he has it. Butler was down, and they rise to the occasion. Florida had him down. What was like 11, like by 12 minutes left to go in the second half. You think, oh man, this is it. Florida's going to take over, going up by 20, but they come back, and you got to give them a lot of props.
You're kind of excited to see if one of these small teams will win it this weekend.
Yeah, I honestly, it looks like Kentucky's the team to beat.
I can't go with that, but.
Well, welcome back to the segment number 2 here in the 2-minute drill. Next thing we're going to talk about is baseball opening day. Huge for me, right?
Oh, it's totally exciting.
Obviously,
you got to be up for baseball in March.
Obviously, I'm a big baseball fan, so I'm really looking forward to this week. And I have season tickets to the Orioles this year. Well, a season ticket package. So I'm excited. I really think the Orioles can.
You got the O's on. I got the Nationals representing.
Exactly right. So you know, I've been waiting for this. The everyday game. You're gonna follow it. I got the baseball package on TV. Got it on my iPad. So this is really what I've been waiting for. But you know, the Orioles. I'm excited because I really think they can do something this year. I mean, they finished up last year great. They added Vladimir Guerrero. They got Derek Lee. They got that, you know, really the heart of the lineup now.
They're in the AL East, right?
Yeah, like, AL East, yeah.
So they gotta fight with the what? Like
I think they can do it this year. They got the young pitching.
They gotta fight with the Yankees, the Red Sox. You think they can do it?
I think this is your year. Right? Honestly, I think they're kind of coming together.
I gotta tell you, I'm not much of a baseball fan, so but I'm really gonna try and stick with it this year. I'm gonna try and get into it. I'm gonna try and watch some games. I'll probably come over to Hodge's place since it's got the baseball package. I don't know how you can watch that many games, but I'm gonna try and get into it a little bit and see what I can follow. I'm just hoping somehow my knowledge will catch up to yours at some point.
No, it should be. I think it's gonna be a great season. I think it should be exciting. I'm pretty thrilled about that we're starting out. I think the Orioles are really gonna have a good year this year. So I'm looking forward to going out to Camden Yards, and I think they're really gonna challenge the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Red Sox and the Yankees, huh? So, you know, I was trying to do some research, and I'm kind of like, you know, looking up things online, and I happen to notice that, like, nobody's picking the Yankees at all, which kind of surprised me, given that, you know, the Yankees usually have the biggest payroll. So I was going to ask you, is that surprising? Or?
I think the Yankees, the pitching, I mean, you know, Andy Pettit's left. Pitching may not be they're getting a little older. A-Rod's had some down years. Jeter's a little bit older. So I think that's where that's coming from. So, you know, I think the Red Sox are definitely the team to beat, but I think it should be a great year.
All right, so the third topic today, Hodge, we're going to talk a little golf. Got a little golf ball here. Sports fans who don't know what that is, it's a golf ball. Obviously, the Masters tournament coming up at Augusta, so pretty excited about that. I know you and I are going to be at the U.S. Open later.
That's right, in June.
In Bethesda, so we'll definitely talk about that. But going into the Masters, what do you think?
But this used to be an easy pick, right? So it was like one of two guys. You got Tiger, you got Phil. But this year it's not so easy, right? I mean, Tiger's really not playing that well. Phil's playing okay, but really not that great. So it really just seems like it's a European year. If you look at Keimer, Luke Donald, it looks like European. If you look at the overall golf rankings, they're right at the top, and the U.S. guys are kind of down. But if I really analyze this, I'm like a Nick Watley, the American player. He won the Cadillac. He's played really well at Augusta. So I was looking favoring Keimer perhaps or Donald, but if you look at the record, they haven't played that well at Augusta.
Yeah, I can see that. Who I was going to put on my top list was Bubba Watson. I just really I don't know if it's so much his game, but
just the name, Bubba.
Bubba. But I really he's kind of like a hacker out there. I mean, he's just he's the number one in driving, but he's not accurate. And so he makes me feel like the average guy gets out there and kind of hacks it around. That's what he does. But he won at Torrey Pines earlier in the year. Right. He was number 4 at the Accenture Match Play. He's obviously number 1 in driving. I mean, he hits a long ball like you wouldn't believe. But actually, I was kind of surprised to hear he was number 2 in greens and regulations, which I think, when you talk about Augusta, you kind of want to get to the green and regulation. I think that's going to be huge.
Those greens are it's all about the short game.
So kind of like him, the other guy I was going to go with was Hunter Mahan. I think he's got 4 top 10s out of the 8 matches he's played in, so I think that's kind of good.
So you show no love to the Europeans?
No, I'm going opposite of you. It's a big surprise there. I'm going opposite of you.
That's 2 Americans.
I'm going 2 Americans. Yeah.
Nick Watley's an American too, so that's what I'm saying, right? So
I still think you like the Europeans.
Well, those guys, they're kind of Westwood and Royal McIlroy. All those guys could be in it. Tiger, you don't want to count out, but it just doesn't seem like he has his game together right now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Masters. I like this on the same course every year, so I'm excited. I'll watch all 4 rounds.
No, it's one of the best tournaments of all.
All right, sports fans. So the next topic we're going to go into, we're introducing a new segment this week called Rack 'em and Stack 'em. Kind of like this.
Kind of a rating type thing.
Yeah, it's all about ranking. So we've done some rankings before, but now we've got a format. We're going to call it Rack 'em and Stack 'em. So I'm pretty excited about it. Here we're going to talk about the NBA a little bit. We thought it'd be fun to revisit those trades that hit right before the trade deadline and just kind of rank which trades were best, which were worst.
Right.
We're looking at the Knicks getting Melo, obviously, the Heat getting Bibby, and the Nets getting Williams, and then the final one was really Boston trading away Perkins for a draft pick. So how'd you rank those?
Well, if I was going to rank, I think the best trade for the Nets was actually Darren Williams coming over from Utah. He's averaging 13 assists, 17 points since coming over. I think he's made a big difference in that team. And, I think the Nets have felt that immediately. I guess he didn't get along with Jerry Sloan, so the Jazz had to get rid of him. But that would have been number 1. I think number 2 would be the Melo trade to the Knicks. I'm not crazy about this trade. I like to follow the Knicks. I like them. I worked in New York, lived in the New York area for a while. I think that they've actually regressed since they got him, but I think it's a good trade for the long run. My third to last would be Mike Bibby. He hasn't really produced. He shot pretty well from 3-point land by 50% percentage. Hasn't done a whole lot. I think it's been a big letdown. And my last would be Perkins. I think that was probably a mistake for Boston. Maybe for the long run, they get the number 1 pick in 2011. They get Kristich. They get the other guy Green. But I think that they lost their toughness, so I think it was kind of negative for the Celtics.
Yeah, I think what's great about this is I'm totally going to disagree with you. The Celtics, I was going to put as number 1 because they have the best record since the trade. So if you went just based on kind of what their record is, they're doing the best. They're 10-7 since the trade, and the other ones are sub 500.
But they're going to. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, but you know, and I think really that is a trade for the future because I think right now they feel like they got Shaquille O'Neal, Jermaine O'Neal.
Perkins is the heart of that team.
That's fine.
So
they're still not doing terrible. They're still number one in the East.
That's the toughness. That's what you say the Heat don't have, and now you're gonna say it's good the Celtics got rid of that. But anyway,
no, that's not what I said about the Heat.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna go with the Celtics number one. Actually, I'm gonna go with the Bibby trade to Heat as number two.
Why?
Because
why would you do that?
I think since they brought him in, after about 4 games in, they've actually had a winning record, and I think they've been doing really well. I think they needed a point guard. I think they needed somebody with experience to kind of lead that team.
I think the winning streak is because LeBron's gone 30, Wade's gone 30, and Bosh.
But I think the only reason they did that is because they brought Bibby in, and that's my opinion. And then I would go with the Nets because the Nets. That one's a hard one to rate at this point. I would say, are they going to keep Darren Williams? Because it's clearly not a trade for this year, so it's got to be looking at it for the future.
He's playing great.
He's playing great, but is he going to stay there? And as far as the trade and evaluating the trade, I'm just not sure that it was a good idea. And then you go to the Knicks with Melo. They're playing awful, which I'm actually surprised that you had them so high because...
Well, because Bibby was a disaster.
They traded away.
Because Bibby was a disaster. Perkins was a disaster. I mean,
they just traded away so much of their team just to get one guy, which they were already going to make the playoffs. So if you look at it from a trade value, I'm just not sure it really lines up.
I think that's a long-term trade. I think they're looking. They got Stoudemire. Now they got Melo. They're going to add the piece in the offseason. But they'll make the playoffs, be a low seed, and then they'll go on from.
But if you say long term, they just gave up like 3 or 4 guys that were really young.
I think they can channel.
I think that's what they think. I just don't know if it was the right move. But
time will tell.
That's Rackerman Sack.
Time will.
That is Rackerman Sack.
I think more time on this, but that's all right.
All right. All right, sports fans, so we're coming back for our last topic. We're going to introduce another new segment, trying to, have some fun here. So we're going to call this the Last Blast, and really, this is just going to be Hodge venting this week about, one of his favorite subjects.
Well, it's opening, it's opening week this week for baseball, opening days tomorrow, and we're excited about baseball, but I just see a lot of negatives about baseball going forward. I think there's a great following for baseball live. You look at the gate. But I think, if you look at baseball overall, a lot of the young people and a lot of the trends, I think there's been a lot of surveys of young people in high school and elementary school, what's your favorite sport? Baseball finishes last behind the NBA and the NFL. That's not a good trend for baseball. And I just wish Bud Selig and a lot of the powers that be really take a look at this and say, what do we need to do to turn this trend around? And I had just a couple things. I think the number one thing is, we got to shorten the games, and I was reading some things on ESPN.com a few weeks ago. I think it was Bill Simmons was analyzing the length of Boston Red Sox games. If you look in the 70s, they were like 2 hours. Now a Red Sox and Yankees game is like 4 hours long. People just can't sit through that, and I think a lot of it has to do with in between pitches. These guys, they get the ball, they walk around the mound, take a tour of it, look at the rosin bag, put it on their back. I mean, honestly, it's just too much. Get up there and throw the baseball. Also, the batters backing out and sitting there, but the pitchers, they need like a time limit on these pitches. It's just ridiculous. It's slowing down the game. The average fan's not going to sit through it, and we're losing fans, which hurts me because I'm a huge baseball fan. I think it's a great game. Secondly, I think it's the postseason and these games on the Eastern time zone at 9 o'clock at night. We're selling our champion at 12:30 at night. Honestly, all the kids are in bed. They got to go to school. I'm a baseball fan. I work for a living. I got to go to work the next morning. I can't stay up till 1 a.m.
So, great rant from Hodge over here on baseball.
It's still kind of hot. I got to cool down here.
It's going to be a tough one, but as always, follow us on Facebook, Hodge and Podge. You can follow us on Twitter, Hodge and Podge. You can email us, hodgeandpodgeshow@gmail.com. And I think we got some YouTube running now. So
yeah, we do. So we'll send that out. We'll post it on the Facebook page and let everyone take a look at it.
That's good stuff. We're trying to get our word out there. We got a lot of feedback last week. We're really excited about it.
We are.
Keep sending it in, man.
It's been great.
And that's about it, man.
Yeah.
See you next time.
All right. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.